Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to come and present on what the city of Johannesburg is doing in terms of migrants in general. I think just to indicate that we all know that migration is unavoidable. People will be moving all the time and we can't stop it. Somebody said that it's not a problem that we need to solve, but how do we manage that? And I fully concur with that. So the city of Johannesburg also saw a need to also come up with some kind of interventions as to how to manage migration. We know that migration actually is not a mandate of local government, but we deal with these issues on the ground, and that's where now we need to focus and come up with interventions and initiatives as to how we address those issues. We realize the need for both local government, provincial, as well as national, to deal with these issues together. It's still a challenge because there's too much differences with working in silos, and so much that we depend on legislation that is being passed nationally. We as the city of Johannesburg, we do not have our own legislation to deal with this. However, after the xenophobic attacks, in 2008, around there, we all know the history. The former executive mayor, Amos Masondo, saw the need to come up with some kind of a response to address issues around xenophobia and all those social ills that are associated with migrants. Hence, there was a policy that was approved, the policy on integration of migrants, which was approved in 2011. Now, the policy actually was just to give direction in terms of how do we integrate migrants that are coming to the city of Johannesburg specifically. We know that normally when migrants come to the city, they sort of integrate themselves because we do not have camps where we can just keep them. So they integrate themselves. However, there was a need for those that needed assistance to be given that kind of assistance and to assist them to be part of the communities. So the aim of the policy was just to facilitate the integration of migrants. So the help desk, the migrant help desk, was established solely to assist migrants to navigate through the city and also find their way within the city. Now, in doing that, we developed 2 programs that assisted us in the promotion of diversity, tolerance, combating xenophobic tendencies, and in this case we targeted all the high-risk areas. The high-risk areas are those areas where xenophobic tendencies tend to happen. So in a nutshell, we developed this policy, and we concentrated on 2 aspects. One is the common citizenship program, and the other is the counter-xenophobia program. And these 2 programs, we still engaged in them as the city of Johannesburg. I'll just go through each program briefly. The first one there talks about the reception strategy. This basically refers to people coming through the help desk, through our offices, to come and seek assistance in terms of It can be issues around social ills, it can be documentation, it can be legal, and so on and so on. So people will just come to the office and indicate their issues, and then we assess them in terms of intakes. We sort of come up with ways of resolving them, one of which is to refer them to the responsible service providers. So basically our desk is just that of advocacy and referral. We just refer. There's not actually a tangible service that we can provide to the people. We can't issue documentation, but we can refer them to the Department of Home Affairs. We are not lawyers, but we can refer them to Lawyers for Human Rights. We can refer them to South African Human Rights Commission and so on and so on, including even Chapter 9 institutions, the public protector and stuff like that. So people will just come around to the help desk and just indicate their issues, and we assess them and then try to refer them to the relevant service providers. The other issue that we do is orientation programs, where we sort of arrange awareness sessions with the people who are mostly new in the city of Johannesburg, those that need to know what are the conditions prevailing within the city of Johannesburg, how can they access certain services. So we do, but mostly here we sort of make people aware of issues like the bylaws, so that they don't find themselves, in contravention of the law. So our JMPD will assist us, our EMS will assist us to sort of raise awareness to people that if you want to set up a business, you don't just go to a pavement and just start setting up. There are procedures that you need to follow. So we will engage in those kind of sessions, so that people are aware of what is expected of them when they come to the city of Johannesburg. The language issue, yes, we did language programs wherein we promoted people to learn other people's languages. We are mainly focusing on English, on French, on Portuguese, native languages like Zulu and Sotho, so that migrants can learn the local languages and the local people can learn the foreign languages. That also form part of assisting them to integrate into communities, so that they can be able to learn one another's cultures and so on. Well, there are challenges in terms of who must provide this, because we are not expecting that. We've been engaging service providers, but each time we run into problems. More so because we needed to also, deal with perceptions from the local communities. We all know that local, especially in the informal settlements, where now people fight for limited resources, we needed to highlight why migrants are there. Why did they come to South Africa or the city of Johannesburg, to be specific? We needed to highlight, somebody talked about the push and pull factors, why these people are here, so that the local communities should not just view them as those that are coming to take away their resources, their jobs, and people are coming here to take their wives, and so on and so on. So we needed to do those kind of interventions. The second element that we're focusing on is the data collection. We wanted to manage through our intakes. We wanted to do a profile of who is in Johannesburg, what are they here for, what are their issues, what nationalities are they, and so on and so on. This is quite a challenge because we know that we don't actually have the accurate statistics as to how many migrants are here. And when I say migrants, I'm referring to both internal migrants and cross-border migrants. There are people moving from provinces to the city of Johannesburg. There are cross-border migrants, so we needed to profile each one of them. But this has been a challenge because of lack of resources. We can't do it alone. Even our intakes cannot. It's not sufficient for us to do a profile of people living in the city of Johannesburg. But there's the idea that we manage those people that are coming into the city of Johannesburg. We know, we rely mostly on statistics by the SA. Department of Home Affairs is also having their data, but there are challenges because that data is somehow confidential. They can't share it with anyone, so it's quite a challenge. The other element is lobbying, where we just want to work with partners. We want the city to have stakeholders that we can engage with and rely on in terms of migrants' challenges that we're facing. The other aspects that perhaps maybe is quite important is the establishment of the Johannesburg Migration Advisory Panel, what we normally call JMAP. JMAP was created specifically to afford all civil organizations within Johannesburg an opportunity to come together and discuss issues of migration, mainly dealing with the challenges faced by migrants. Civil organizations, NGOs dealing with migration issues would come together and discuss those kind of issues. So this is just a panel that is run by civil organization. The chairperson is from civil organization. The executive committee of that JMAP is also from civil organization. The city is just an observer, and we're monitoring how this thing is being run. We are there to provide support in terms of resources and capacity to assist them to run JMAP. But this is only for civil organizations to deal with the issues, because NGOs mostly deal with the challenges on the ground. They know where migrants are, they know their challenges, and they deal with this on an everyday basis. So the JMAP was specifically created to afford migrants an opportunity to raise their issues. And once these issues are raised, the JMAP would make a recommendation to the JMAC, what you call the Johannesburg Migration Advisory Committee. This basically it's at a higher level where the executive mayor is the chairperson. Issues that are being discussed in JMAP are then escalated to JMAC to be handled there. And this is where now we see some kind of decisions being made at a higher level in terms of how to address migration challenges. Now, the second program that we have, I'm going to run, I have short time, is the counter-xenophobia program. This is just interventions that we saw fit to just go to the communities and do some initiatives. We run public awareness campaigns through events. We run dialogues where we're targeting the high-risk areas that I talked about. And we also do a focus on local migration. There's also labor issues, focusing on exploitation, human trafficking, and marriages of convenience. Public awareness here is just mainly about events. We do events each and every quarter. You can see those are the events that we engage in. Heritage Day, International Human Trafficking Event, International Human Rights Day, International Migrants Day, Human Rights Day, Africa Day, which is now coming in May. We're busy with that now, and the World Refugee Day in June. So those are the events that we're engaging in, just to raise awareness on migration issues. Dialogues that we do are mainly focusing on counter-xenophobia, where we raise awareness, especially in the communities, to highlight the plight of migrants, and especially to address issues of xenophobia. We know about those challenges around xenophobia, but at the same time we needed to raise awareness to say not everything is about xenophobia. We cannot classify each and everything as xenophobic. We needed to also assess the situation first and see whether there's no criminal element in it, because that can also be construed as xenophobia. So we needed to highlight those kind of issues. Well, basically those are the high-risk areas in each and every region. We've got 7 regions. In each region we have identified the high-risk areas with the assistance of the VETS ACMS. They assisted us in developing those kind of high-risk areas. Obviously, we will need to re-evaluate them each and every time, because situations can improve in other areas, and other areas can become high-risk areas as well. Yeah, those are the high-risk areas. Talking about the focus on local migration, this is where now we just want to promote peace between local communities. We highlight to the local community why migrants are there and how they should engage with them, so that people are aware of who migrants are. But this is a two-way traffic, as I indicated before, that migrants should understand the culture within local communities, and local communities should understand the culture of migrants, so that there is peace and harmony. We know there are challenges around that. So we do seminars, we do cultural events around that to highlight all these kind of issues. The other one that we do is labor issues, where we focus on exploitation. We know that most migrants are willing to work for less pay than South Africans, and they end up being exploited, the cheap labor issues. But when we raise these issues, we also want to highlight to employers that they must not look at making money, but also be sensitive on the issues of migrants, so that they don't exploit them, and would also appeal to the government that there should be consequences for employers that employ especially irregular migrants, because in most cases we see only migrants suffer the consequences of being employed there. They are being deported and arrested and all those things, but there's no consequences for employers that are employing them illegally. So we want to balance the equation. The other initiative is on human trafficking. We raise awareness on the dangers of human trafficking. We all know about these dangers of human trafficking. We raise awareness on that as well. I'm rushing. Marriages of convenience, yes, we know the dangers because poverty can also lead to people taking money to assist those that are illegal to get access to citizenship and stuff like that, especially our women in rural areas, in formal settlements, where they are being exploited. Sometimes they are married without their knowledge by unscrupulous people. So we do awareness to raise those kind of awareness. Now, some of the challenges that we encountered, tensions between new arrivals and locals over limited resources, fighting over those opportunities, xenophobic tensions that are there, although it's quiet now, but we see pockets of them happening in some areas. Child migrant, we see abuse of children, we see child labor, we see human trafficking, smuggling, all those kind of things. And we see the fight over accommodation, people living in substandard, hijacked or bad buildings. You will recall that the mayor is also dealing with this issue here. Irregular or undocumented migrants, this has been also another thorny issue, and people have been talking about statements by mayor to say all illegal migrants must leave. So that is also a challenge. Lack of accurate statistics. We are not knowing how many migrants are here. Today you see them here, tomorrow they are not there, so it's one of the challenges. Involvement of foreign migrants in criminal activities. This does not only involve migrants, it can also be locals also involved in that. The swelling of unemployment rate, we know the rate is busy swelling. Some of the successes, yes, through our events, our dialogues, we managed somehow to reduce xenophobic tendencies. The war has not been won yet. We're still continuing with that. There are challenges in terms of giving feedback to the communities. Once the dialogues are done, we still want to deal with that. We've been able to foster collaborations with the migrant organizations, with Chapter 9 institutions. We know the government is busy now establishing partnerships and stakeholder engagement. City of Johannesburg is the only municipality with the help desk, as I indicated there. We promoted this to others, municipalities. I know the municipality in Matatiele also adopted the similar model. We would also want other municipalities to also have this kind of help there so that we can share information and work together around the issues of migrants. Thank you very much for listening to me.